So I figured out my whole life, my whole existence today, and why everything is the way it is. Coming up after this. Okay, I guess I've talked about this stuff, or I've touched on it before. I don't know how this is a realization, because I already knew most of this stuff. Here we go. So, I craved attention, so obviously I didn't get enough, and it really started to show when I started school. I would talk all the time during class, and I would get into trouble, and I would have to, be put in the closet. And I told the story about the big rock on the shelf, which is sad for a 6-year-old. I don't know, that's not what the story is about. We're not going to go into that. But I used to have to, during recesses and lunches, sit in the hall a lot. And this is the embarrassing part. I was only 6, though. I don't think when I was 5 that they made me sit in the hallway. When I was 6, they did. And then I would see, I don't know, there'd be some lady who I wouldn't know who was talking with the teachers. And I guess she's probably a district supervisor or something. And she would come during lunch hour or something. And I would sit there and I would tell myself that she was maybe a music producer. And I would sing in the hallways and think that I would be discovered at 6 years old in this really small town. Well, not even a town, it's a community. When I went to school, it was this old schoolhouse that was around at least in the 40s, 1940s it was, and it's still there. It's not a schoolhouse anymore. But 2 grades I would be in, grade 1 and grade 2 was in the same classroom. So this is really old. We're talking old schoolhouse here. The basement was really cool too because it was all stone. Yeah, except it was painted. It was weird. Okay. So, and then I'm realizing, today I'm realizing that I was singing because the only time that I saw my parents show any excitement over children was when they were on television and they were performers and they would rave about them. So that's the fundamental part of me and who I am, because I'm just looking for attention because I didn't get any. And I saw that the kids that did get them were talented superstars on television. And I thought the television was good for me. In many ways, television was good for me because that's where I got all of my information and education, and I learned about the world, and I had people to spend time with, and to this day, that is what I do now. I don't want to hurt my parents by saying that I know that they were doing the best they could. I'm realizing the neglect because every time I've been in a relationship, I wanted the time alone. I had all these things to do, and I have all these things to do, and I never have time for anyone else. So I see that in me, and I know that if I had children, I would totally neglect them and not want them to bother me while I do my stuff. And that's the reason I don't have any. Well, one of many, because also this brain that I have, I wish it not upon anyone. This also explains why I have this age problem where I always feel too old, because I am too old. I never became a childhood star. It's too late. I'm not out to impress my mother or anything. And it's not like she doesn't act proud now. She'll rave about her children, about what they're doing, and make them sound like they are the president of the United States when she talks to people about them. She'll make you sound a lot better, which also sounds like the problem, doesn't it? Now that I'm aware that I had to be a child star, and I never was, and my whole existence is just, I'm on the internet because I just want attention. Yet I don't want it. I want it, but I don't want it. It's really strange because I'm totally self-sufficient because I had to be. There's so many things that I didn't do that I should have been made to do, but it's my responsibility, especially now, without shaming my parents. I understand that they raised me the way that their parents raised them, but I didn't do so many things, and they weren't interested in so many things. The things I remember are no school pictures. I didn't like the way that I looked. I realized way too soon that when school pictures were taken, I didn't get mine taken. Like, I probably stood in line and then just pretended like I had them done, and nobody was interested in seeing the pictures. So nobody knew that I never did it. Never got them done, ever. I didn't go to my graduation. I didn't go to my prom. Nobody made me. When I first realized that I was in it for myself, I didn't really notice because I had jobs. Like, I would sell greeting cards at first, and then my brother had a paper route, and then he passed it down to me. So then I got this giant paper route, and I just always had money coming in as a kid. So I would buy everything that I wanted and needed. And I think it was about 12. And I did a little experiment, and I said, if I didn't ask for anything for my birthday, would they notice or would they do anything? And my father had a really interesting sense of humor, and I told this story before on the internet, but they did wake up and know it was my birthday that year. But he said, Jason, are you going to get up and open all your presents? Because there weren't any. Because I didn't remind them. That was the test. And then I think from there on, I did realize that I was in it alone. And I had been for a while. And I'm grateful. I love how independent I am, but it's kind of scary how independent I am. I'm like solitary confinement independent. I don't need anyone around me at all. I do enjoy rom-coms, though. Actually, I prefer things that aren't funny, whatever you call those. But that's where I feel emotion. That's where I get my feely things. That's where I turn to for, is that sad? That I can be totally fulfilled just by watching a favorite movie, and it fills it. The music's playing and it's artificial strings and it works for me. And I heard that people in prison do that. So, total solitary confinement stuff. And I am really happy, and every year is better than the last. But now that I have this information, and I'm not a child star, they were so impressed with kids. I remember once my father had some kind of function, so we all went to Cape Breton, and we stayed in a hotel. There was nothing for me to do. I have no idea what my brother did. He probably just watched movies on television while they were at some function watching some kids play the fiddle and dance around and sing. I remember my parents were so disgusted that I was just playing with the telephones and looking around at the hotel while they were at this shindig. And then they were raving about how talented these kids were. I was just, messing around in the hotel, and they didn't like that. I would use the phone a lot as a kid. There were a lot of phone contests in the 70s and the 80s, I think. And you could send away for stuff in the mail, but you'd have to call them. You call people to get catalogs and stuff. And I guess that's who I talked to. That might explain my shopping addiction. Sending away to get free catalogs in the mail. Or you could get a lot of free things in the mail, actually. Yeah. For some reason, you could phone and get free products. Test at no obligation. Okay. So now that I know why I think I'm a failure, what am I going to do about it? Because I was just going to say I don't feel like a failure, but I do feel like a failure. I am a failure. Except the new rule was that you don't say that. Even if I am, even if I don't have any of the things that everyone else at my age has. And I'm not exaggerating here. Even if what? Oh yeah, I have to tell myself, I have to see the more positive side. And I do understand the positive side. I'm independent. I don't need anyone. Is that a positive thing? I'm really passionate about the things I love. Like, really passionate. That was inherited. Oh, and that's where the neglect comes from, because I'm too passionate about the things that I love to pay attention to the things that I don't love. Oh dear God. What do I do with this information? I already knew this stuff. I just never said it out loud. I think the thing that I learned today was why I'm so obsessed with the feeling that it's too late and I'm too old. I've always felt like a child prodigy who never did anything, though. I don't know, I'm going to have to think about what the steps are now. I do know what the steps are. The steps are what I was talking about. I have to just manifest the good stuff, see and say positive things about myself, and believe the positive things about myself. When it all comes down to it, I wouldn't change a thing. I like the person I am. I don't like what I have, but I love the person I am. Alright, I'm going to edit this video because it's going to be way too long and jumbled. I love you. Thanks for listening. You're my best friend.